should be available in the hubs that we have, so that it draws the youth to the hub. The other thing is partnership with technology partners. I think we're really doing poorly in terms of bringing in partners, the likes of Microsoft, and there are so many hubs in Nairobi, and different in Kisumu as well. And you see different multinationals. And the reason why bringing in multinationals is really good for the hubs is because it inspires the youth that are already working there, or everyone who is working there, to build their skills. It's also an opportunity for the multinationals and for these tech companies to be able to scout the skills that are, and showing partners there as well that we have open hands for you guys to come help our county. That will be a huge one for us as a county. And it is what will form the hub. It's also an ecosystem. It's also an ecosystem for tech enthusiasts. You don't need to be necessarily a programmer. But if you're a tech enthusiast, remember, technology can't just work by itself. We need the people in media. We need people who can be able to speak and stuff like those ones. We need people in communication and all that. So the hub should not just be about ICT by itself. We bring in everyone, including those ones in communication. We bring in photographers. Who takes photos of what we do? Who publicizes what we do? So we bring in those people as well. So that is what I believe is my idea of the hub, rather than we move away from what we call ICT centers. Because when you say ICT center, people would initially think that if you're not an ICT person, you can actually come there. But we want everyone to be able to be part of the ecosystem. We will have events, and these events will be about us speaking about different things. We will bring in industry experts, and these industry experts will speak about an array of things. I think what I've seen mostly right now is our youth. You tell someone, ICT is very broad. You tell someone says, I want to be an ICT person, but they don't necessarily know which path I need to take. In ICT, you can be a programmer, you can be someone called DevOps, you can be a cloud server specialist. There are so many areas. So if you go to a particular place, if you go to a particular village, you will actually see that people studying ICT are in one line because they are looking up to one person at the end. So these ICT hubs will be to be able to show them that there are diverse paths in terms of ICT that you can use to be able to achieve your goals as ICT. And eventually we will see actually the hubs will start building services for us as a county as well. And it's what I would really encourage if I get to the office, that we allow the tech gurus in the hubs to play around in building services, solving our problems using technology in one way or another. We don't need to absorb them per se initially. We can vet them eventually if it fits. But we allow them to be able to, if they walked into a particular office and found that there is a particular problem with the queue, can someone within the hub build something for us and show us and demonstrate to us that actually build this thing and it can be useful for you guys? Those will give us ideas as a county. Why the centers have not achieved it's the same thing as well. I think the whole blueprint of an ICT center wasn't from the beginning that it's a wholesome ecosystem. I'm part of Uasin Gishu ICT Forum, and these are some of the things. And there are events that are already being held in Uasin Gishu County around ICT. We bring them to these hubs, show them that you can actually do them from these hubs as well. And that will allow a normal mwananchi, a normal citizen from the base of the pyramid, to be able to join those conversations and be part of it. You had asked a question about shareholding on my question 22. I don't have the question, but I think I remember answering the question. So Navitron is a company that does tracking for aircrafts. I am a shareholder because of my experience in tracking business. So that is why I didn't mention much, because I'm just a shareholder. I'm just bringing in my experience. Yeah.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Nancy.
First of all, I want to say congratulations, Felix, for this far. I only have one question. We know youth, sports, and ICT falls under one CEC. And my question is going to be like this. We have had some challenges in our county concerning which department should be used to take our sons and daughters for further studies overseas. Where do you think this department should fall? Is it in youth, sports, and ICT, or education? Thank you.
Honorable Chair, I think that's a political question. Yeah, no, but I won't be able to answer it because my position is Chief Officer, ICT, E-Government and Innovation. So the others.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
Through the Chair, I would like to have a one-on-one session with our nominee. Kindly. I ask him, he answers, I ask him. Is that okay?
Okay.
Thank you, Chair. I have not seen you taking water.
I did.
Okay, sawa. I have a few questions that I would like us to. I don't know if you have this questionnaire with you.
I don't have a copy. The original one I submitted yesterday.
Okay.
I didn't take a copy.
You'll be provided a copy for right now. So I'd like us to go to question number 19, where you talk about published writings. You've been asked, you list the titles, publishers, and dates of books, reports, letters to the editor, editorial pieces, or other published materials you have authored or edited. You've answered none. Is that true?
Yes.
With this vast representation that you've had, you've not been part of any publication? Any policy written?
I have not written any policy. I have not written any books yet.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you go to question B. Supply 4 copies of any reports, memoranda, or policy statements that you prepared, contributed at any bar, association, conference, or organization. You are a founder and a CEO of, basically, let me say, an organization. You must be you must have input in reports, in policy statements. Because I'm trying to imagine, in total health, you've done a report, maybe, when you're looking for funding, you've done a proposal, anything like that?
Yes, I've done a lot of them.
You've answered none?
I think my understanding for this was published reports that would be available to the public.
The first question was the one that it says any bar association, committee, conference, or organization. It has not stated public.
Yeah, no, so, Honorable Chair, from the work that I've done as at the 2 companies that I've worked in, usually those documents would be confidential.
Okay.
Yeah, so they are there in terms of reports that I've done to donors, in terms of, but it won't be available to the public. And also, if I resign today, I won't have access to those documents as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I've also done questionnaires, Honorable Chair. Mm-hmm. In terms of policy, I've contributed to policy, but through questionnaires, my experiences through questionnaires. So it's part of a whole ecosystem. I've contributed my share of experiences, but that usually happens through questionnaires that I receive from different bodies.
Thank you. Question number 20, the next page, it talks about public office, political activities, and affiliations. Of course, you've not held any public office, that is noted. So question B, have you participated in any, are you a member of any political party?
No.
So if we check your status right now, you do not belong to any political party?
I only vote.
But you're not a member of any political party?
No, I don't.
Okay. So in this question, it asks about election participation, and you've told me right now you vote, but you indicated none. And you're a law-abiding citizen, so you...
Right. My understanding was membership of political party, not necessarily who I voted for.
No, I'm not asking who you voted for. It says if you have held any position or played a role in political campaign, identify a particular campaign, including the date, the candidates of the campaign, your title, responsibility, and include any linkage you have to a political party. That you've mentioned, none. And then my question was, if you are a member of any political party, you said no. Have you participated in any campaign? Did you support any? I don't need names. I'm just asking, did you support anyone during the campaign? Maybe fundraising, T-shirts,
No,
banners?
that
So you've not
answer-
supported anyone?
I have not supported, just on the voting, which I believe is confidential.
Yes, that's very confidential. Thank you. Okay, so you move to the question. Honorable Butuk has left. He had asked a question that I would like to go through now that you're here. In terms of being a board member of course, we know board members, you get paid in terms of maybe you sit in a meeting, you get payment for that. So Total Health does not pay you as the co-founder and the CEO.
If I get assigned to this position, I will resign and sit at the board.
Okay.
The board currently, as it's constituted, we don't pay the board.
So are you a board member as we speak?
I'm a board member as a secretary right now, but also as a CEO. So once I resign, I will sit at the board,
Okay.
and they will assign me a role at the board.
Okay. I would like to know about your net worth. Question number 23. You said, sorry, before you get the net worth, the sources of income. You've listed Total Health as a source of income, which is, you've noted 1.4 million. That is your payment as the CEO. Or just kindly elaborate that.
Honorable Chair, so this is my income from Total Health for the last year and the 2 months from the previous year, and the two months for this year.
Okay. Question number 25. Can you just kindly elaborate for us your net worth, kidogo tu, so we can understand?
Okay, Honorable Chair, I have a land in Nairobi. I bought a land in Nairobi, which is 1 acre in Kikuyu. It's currently, the current worth is 9.5 million. I have a vehicle, which is currently valued at 1.4 million. I have a house in Kaptinga where I live. It's currently valued at around 1.6 million. The ancestral land that I was given by my father is worth about 2 million. I have cash in deposits of about for about 400,000. Then I have loans from different institutions that would amount to about 850,000 Kenyan shillings.
Thank you. That is satisfactory. So I come to your CV. This, through the chair, I want to ask, did you apply for this position?
Yes, I applied to this position, Honorable Chair.
Did you attend an interview?
Yes, I attended an interview.
Could you remember, was it a panel or just a single member interviewing you?
It was a panel.
Where did the interview happen?
Kapseret sub-county offices.
Okay. Thank you. So my last question before I hand it over, I'm looking at your Facebook. I don't know if you've taken a break from Facebook.
Yeah, so I know. So Honorable Chair, so I was running also advertisements for my different companies on my Facebook account. So as a policy, I think for a private account, Facebook does not allow you to run advertisements. So I think last week is when my Facebook account was disabled. But I've also taken a plea. They've asked me to send my ID number. They will reinstate.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, maybe you had a word that in this honorable house we'll go through your Facebook, so you decided to take a break?
No.
Okay.
No.
Sawa. That is fine. I'd just like to...
My Instagram is still there, though.
Yeah, it's a private account. So on our questionnaire, there's rules there that says if you provide false information to this honorable house, which is on the first schedule of the questionnaire, it says the submission, part D, the submission of false information in the questionnaire shall lead to the automatic disqualification of a nominee. You've noted?
Yes.
So I want you to note that we still are not satisfied with the discrepancy in your police clearance. So we would like you to close of business. Is that possible?
That's possible.
You provide us with the correct ones.
That's no problem.
And then the last thing, before I hand it over to Chair, I don't know why I'm forgetting it, but the documents you've provided us, I feel like they're not quite satisfactory because there are some things that we are missing, and I would like you to provide to this house, like your certificate of primary, secondary. You've received awards, you've been honored before. I'm assuming they're like certificates that you received.
Yeah, so for primary, I have not picked my primary KCP certificate as well. I misplaced the high school one. I went to university through JAB, so usually you're not necessarily required to pick your KCSE certificate when you're going through JAB. You get admitted to university, which I think is done through government. So it wasn't a priority initially, but I eventually picked it. But then, as you know, I've been employed in one organization for a very long time. So some of those documents, it's been a while since I saw them. So I tried looking for them, but I couldn't find. But I reported to police as well that I misplaced my KCSE certificate.
Do you notice that you've not told us that when you're introducing yourself? So we would like to know also, like, because we cannot just go ahead and we don't know if you actually did that and your result slip.
For high school?
I'm saying it will be prudent if you provide us with those documents. Even if you reported to the police, we need evidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't provide.
No, and you have time to, it doesn't have to be now, you have time to do that. Okay, I hand it back to Chair. Thank you.
Yeah, those were going to be my final before we close, because we not yet. But since our vice chair have talked about your certificates, there is also the result slip. If you are missing your certificate, what about your result slip? Because we find that your documents are so, a lot is missing. And now that you are an IT guru, maybe you are doing shortcuts, you are hiding something.
No, not really, Honorable Chair.
Yeah.
I can go back to Paul Boyd to ask for my research slip. I never seen a need for it.
You better do that before we go for report writing, because it's so essential.
Okay.
Mheshimiwa Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Before the questions from the Deputy, I had already given the nominee good marks, but I'm surprised to hear that he doesn't have copies of Form 4's results. But I think he will do the necessary so that he can bring it. Otherwise, I want to congratulate him and thank him on how he has been answering the questions. And I think he's the right person to be in that position. My question only, Chair, is that I want to maybe, it's like maybe to get from him on the issues of revenue in Uasin Gishu County. Before this thing called counties was introduced, before Uasin Gishu County used to collect around 700 million. That's what we are getting from those who are councillors before. But nowadays we are getting less than 900 million. Our target this time is 1.1. The other time was 1.4, but we never achieved. I don't know, now that you are going to be the CEO of ICT, I don't know if you are in a position whereby you can assist the Uasin Gishu County, maybe to double or triple the revenue that we are collecting. I'm saying that because, Chair, in 1995, 1996, somewhere there, I used to have a small hotel somewhere. and we used to pay around 750 like being a license fee. But nowadays, that small hotel, they are paying not less than 4,500. The number of hotels nowadays, I can say it's like 10 times of the number of hotels that we used to have that time. Even we never used to have border borders, M-Pesas, car wash. The number of petrol station I can use my center in Chepkanga, we never used to have a petrol stations that time. But nowadays we have 3 petrol stations and they pay a lot of money. So I don't know, as the CEO of ICT, I don't know how you will come and maybe assist the Department of Finance so that we can raise even 2 billion, because I'm seeing a situation whereby we can raise even 3 times of what we used to raise, because of what I've told you. Nowadays we have things like quarries. We used to have only one, and the only quarry, we have many quarries nowadays. Even when you cause the issues of transportation, the matatus, we used to have like 1 matatu operating or 2 matatus operating Eldoret E10. We have several matatus nowadays. So I don't know where the problem is, and I don't know if you are in a position where you can assist. Thank you.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Kitai. Mheshimiwa Lagat.
Thank you, Chair. I have like 2 questions. One, as a chief officer, I know you'll be handling a lot of people. How would you handle your seniors? For instance, maybe your seniors actually come with a problem. Would you tell employees to wait as your seniors come in? Another question. Assume you've got a contract, and you said you worked with 6 partners when you are developing softwares. Who would you consider to give a contract? Is it them, or do you consider people from Uasin Gishu County?
Okay.
Before you answer those questions, I also had a question on automated revenue collection system. Since technology came, I also thought, like Mheshimiwa Shah said, the revenue collection system the revenue collected would go higher, but we find that we are not reaching our projected goals. So my question was, the current county government are planning to install new systems, and you've said the whole systems should be updated. So what would you do to assist the government use little resources to update the whole systems, or you will advise the government to overhaul all the systems and start anew? Welcome.
Honorable Chair, let me start with the question in regard to revenue collection. I haven't looked at all the revenue streams that the county has. I think using ICT, we can be able to seal off all the revenue leakages that we have. As part of my agenda would be that as I said, we digitize all citizen-facing services. And by digitizing all citizen-facing services, we should be able to seal off all revenue leakages that we have as a county. So if there are any payments that are still done manually the way we used to do before, that should shift to digital means. I believe that should be able to drive our revenues up once we do that. In regard to whether we're supposed to overhaul all the systems or not, I think we need to do a proper audit in our softwares that we have internally, because majority of the time you would see is that the revenue leakages could actually be happening at the system level as well. So once we able to audit, is when we can make a decision as a department and as a county whether some of these services needs to be overhauled or not. It will be my duty as a chief officer to work with my team and also the stakeholders to ensure that we do audit over the systems that we have as a county. And I think that will be prudent for us to be able to do it since it's a new government that is coming in. And that will now, we will make a decision from there whether to overhaul or
Maybe,
not.
Chair, maybe on that, you have talked of audit. Is it possible for you to just explain to us how audit can be done?
From a system level.
Yeah.
Yeah, Honorable Chair. So I am not a system auditor myself, but I believe there are consultants who can audit systems, especially the accounting systems. So we will engage, if we don't have capacity internally, we will engage consultants to be able to help us to audit the systems themselves. But usually it's about going through everything that the system does at any particular time. I mean, you've seen system when you post a particular payment, but there's a duplicate or there's an amount that gets subtracted automatically, regardless whether you actually did it or not. So that is actually what system auditors will come do. They will also audit the databases and the servers that we currently using to see if there are any leakages that are happening at that level. So I don't have that capacity myself, but we can engage a consultant to be able to do that.
Maybe still, Chair, on that issue. You mean, I'm not an IT expert, but you mean, let's say now we have petrol stations, let's say 100. We can say each petrol station pays 10,000. That is 1 million. Then you put a figure of 1 million, whereby in case 10 petrol stations pays, it reduces by 100,000. So that maybe at the end of the year, we can say we now have from the petrol station 700,000. What about the rest of 300? Are you talking something like that?
Yeah, so something like that is possible. That's on the upper level. But I think there are complex stuff that can happen on a system that usually, and I think one of the recommendations that I would actually do is all revenue collection systems should be audited at least once every year.
Thank you. Any other question?
I think I had a question as well.
Oh, there is one question from Mheshimiwa Lagat. You have not answered.
Yeah. Honorable Chair, so in terms of handling issues with my seniors and any dispute that will happen, so I am answerable to the Public Service Board, the County Secretary, and to my CCM as well. So if there are any disputes that would happen with my seniors, I think number one I do is just an expression, and I think it's a working relationship. So just an expression first that about the dispute that has happened. But in case it goes beyond my ability to be able to resolve, we have the House Committee here that should be able to advise going forward in case there are any disputes that happens with my seniors. So I think those are the two that I would employ as a CEO. I also know there are guiding rules, there are guiding policies in my department in regard to a lot of things. I will reference those ones if in case there is need for it. In terms of contracts awarded, it will be a conflict of interest if I award my colleagues from Mobile. So that's a no. So I don't think they will even work with Uasin Gishu County. Yeah. Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Through the Chair, I would like to know your understanding of cyberbullying. I'd like to know if you know statistics that we have children and youth and even old people who've been cyberbullied to the point where they've committed suicide. don't have the statistics right. I don't know if you know that. I'd like to know in your docket under Wasingishu County, what kind of research are you going to do, and what kind of mitigation are you going to put in place to ensure that cyberbullying is not a crime that we will be dealing with in Wasingishu? And my second question is, I'd like to know which departments, since we've said ICT is the backbone of the work that we do, I'd like to know which departments are you going to partner with a lot? Like which ones are you going to borrow with to make sure that the work is done? I can give an example of the health department, but I'd like to know which other departments under this regime, this government, that you're going to partner with. Thank you.
Mheshimiwa Natui.
Okay, adding on that, you have been working in private sector, as we know, and you have told us that you never be interested with politics, and as you know now, you are going to work with government where we have politics, as especially us as leaders. We are politicians, so I don't know how are you going to do with it, because maybe you have been in a polite wing, but for now it is about politics and whatever. Another question is that, is there possibility of looting money through online or using ICT? If so, what are you going to do about it? Another thing, even though I have had some members have mentioned, but I would like to go deeper. How are you going to balance now these politicians, executive, for example, our departments, maybe your senior, CCM, and other executives with the member of county assemblies? How are you going to make sure that you work together peacefully without any contradictions? Because we have been seeing, for example, in historically, we have heard that we have as maybe CEOs or for example, let me take it an example of you as CEO. Maybe sometimes you will be doing your things because you don't want the member of county assembly to interfere with you. Maybe you are trying to create your things so that you get a room to do what you want. So how are you going to go about it?
I think our candidate is going to answer those questions, and that will be the end of our questions. And we shall give you time after answering those questions.
Honorable Chair, in regard to the question about cyberbullying, yeah, I'm aware of it, that there is rampant cyberbullying, and majority of it comes from the fact that we also give our children the gadgets that we use too early. And that happens. I do know that there is also cyberbullying for adults as well. Usually they happen within different channels. We have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have TikTok right now, and people use those channels to bully others. There's also SMS as well, and also WhatsApp. I'm not aware, I'm not sure about the numbers as we speak right now because the numbers keep changing. But it's something that needs to be addressed. As to whether I'm the one to address it, it's a difficult one, Honorable Chair. I think the national government have strategies and they have the tools to be able to monitor cyberbullying. We might not have the capacity as a county to be able to address cyberbullying by ourselves. We will need Communication Authority. We will need ICT Authority of Kenya. We will need the CS to be able to intervene at that level to be able to address. So they are addressing it nationally, not just for Singishu people. Yeah. In regard to which department will I partner most, in part of my agenda, when I talked about services, the services that we're supposed to digitalize cuts across every department. So there's no particular preference for a department or particular department that I will work with most. So if I look at environment, for example, the waste management that we have here as a county, the trucks themselves, we're not sure whether the trucks deliver the waste to the designated places or not. So by using ICT, we can be able to track some of these trucks and be able to say that this was your route. Did you actually deliver? Did you actually drop the waste in the designated places or not? And I think we've seen them. They're also rampant in dropping off litter. They overload, then they drop off litter along the way. So using technology, we can be able to trace which particular truck actually used this route. And it's something that we can do beautifully, and I have a lot of experience in it. When we go to agriculture, I see us mapping out all farmers. We will put up a call center, and the call center will not only be people on this other end receiving phone calls from farmers. That will be chaotic. We build a system where we have pre-recorded content for the farmers, and then this can cut across every department. So from those departments, people can be able to access content, and if they are not able to, they can speak to a specialist in a particular department. So that is in agriculture.
I'd definitely expect you to mention the Department of Gender because you've worked with mothers.
Yes. Yeah, so Honorable Chair, so yeah, so there is also the Department of Gender as well, and also health health as a whole. In terms of gender, we should have toll-free numbers, especially for particular cases, like say, for example, for rape, we should have toll-free numbers. For violence within the households, we need to have a toll-free numbers for those ones. I do know that we have ambulances, but if you ask majority of people, for you to access our ambulances, they have to know someone who knows someone who knows someone. We need to do away with that. We need to have a way for our citizens to be able to access the services that we have, including the ambulances. And this also goes to gender as well. So we're having one portal for the county where you can be able to access all those services. So the portal that I'm talking about is the one that has all services that we have as a county, but the additional is also the call center. The call center, people can call and also ask for the services. And that should be broadcasted to every citizen that we have a particular call center that we have. If you have a particular issue as a citizen, this is where you call. And yeah, so in terms of health, I see us digitizing health records as well. It's a priority, and also in part of CIDP. The community health workers who are working with the communities, right now we have them. We don't know whether they are working or not. Are they visiting the households? What do they actually do? How many mothers are dying? Do we know that in real time? How many mothers are going for their clinics? How many mothers are delivering at home? How many children are being immunized? We don't have that in real time. We're just waiting for something. So we want to have that in real time, and we will have a dashboard as part of my agenda as well. Yeah. So, and I hope that answers your question entirely. In terms of politics, I'm a public service officer. I think this one I'll leave for the state officers to be able to assist me in this one. Yeah, so Honorable Chair, when it comes to politics in my department, I would encourage my boss, my CSEM, to be able to assist me in handling them. Is there looting? Can we loot money through ICT? No. So this is not possible, and also not within my jurisdiction as well. Yeah. It could be, but it's not within my jurisdiction, and also not within my docket. So I think this is the security team to be able to handle majority of these things, and the security teams, I know they are able to do all this. It's part of the auditing that I talked about as well. Yeah, so working with my CCM and politicians. So I think my point of contact mainly will be my CCM and also the ICT committee within the county assembly, but that will be through my CCM. So that is, I think, how I'll be able to handle the politics as well. Will I be able to create room for me to do what I want? I will be a public service officer full-time. So I don't think there is anything else I want. It's just that as of now. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Felix Kimaru. Before we give the closing remarks and we come to an end of this interview, I want to talk about your documents. I'm really not satisfied with the missing documents, because even when you are going for your interviews, I'm sure before you go for the interviews, it was clearly noted that you are notified that you come with the following items, or when you are applying, there were these documents like the high school, the living certificates, the good conduct, and so on and so forth. But now if you give this committee these documents, that many documents are missing. But since we are where we are now today, I want to give you until Monday, before the end of business on Monday, to submit the following documents: primary school certificate, secondary school certificate, living certificate, and good conduct.
Secondary. Living certificate for high school and
high school, or even primary. When you are going for your primary certificate, will come with it. Those are basic documents that you can't leave them behind. I don't think in any office you will be allowed without those basic certificates. And I think you have been read the notes on Part D that false information will lead to disqualification of the nominee.
Sure.
Automatic disqualification. So please adhere to these rules, because we are here to do what the Constitution entails us to do. So before I give the closing remarks, I want to give you time to give your prayer to this committee, or to say anything, that your closing remarks, as we are going to wind up.
So, Honorable Chair, thanks for the opportunity for me to be able to explain some of the work that I'll do for the county, and also some of the things that I've done in the past. I want to to pledge to the committee that you please consider my nomination for this position for me to be able to serve the people of Uasin Gishu. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. So we also want to thank you and to congratulate you once more for your appointment and for your nomination. I think the members have heard you. They have heard your plea. And when we go there for report writing, they'll give their reports. So I want to wind up by adjourning this. This committee stands adjourned until further notice. And I want to welcome you too for lunch. Welcome.